Alrighty, well, just to be respectful of everyone's time this afternoon, we will go ahead and get started. So thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Getting Started on Canva. Just a few quick things before I hand it over to Scott. You are welcome to ask questions throughout the session. We just ask that you submit those via the chat box, and we'll cover them once the presentation is over. And then you'll also receive a follow-up email tomorrow morning, and that will include a recording of today's session, a link to the Clanin marketing website where you can download a copy of the presentation, and it will also include links to all of our partners on today's session. So if you want to check out their organizations, you'll be able to do that as well. And a quick reminder to those of you who have joined us before, the SBDC website is currently getting a total revamp, so it is down. However, Clanin Marketing has all of our co-hosted webinars with them on their website, so that is the easiest way to find all of those sessions. I'll include that link in the email as well. And then any sessions that we are not doing with Scott and his team, which are very few, you can find those on our website, or I'm sorry, our Facebook. So I'll include that link as well so you can get to those. So at this time, I'll hand it over to Scott and we'll get started.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jordan, and good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for our Getting Started on Canva webinar. I'll be sharing my screen, so one moment while I pull that up. All right, Jordan, just confirm, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. Well, again, this webinar is our Getting Started on Canva topic. This is a pretty new topic. I think Jordan and I rolled this out last year. And Canva is such a great platform to get started in for all of your graphic design needs, especially if you're a newer business on a budget, or you're someone at your place of business where you wear a lot of hats and you're not a formally trained graphic designer. Canva is a fantastic program. So we're excited to share a lot of different tips and tricks with you today. Like Jordan, I also have a couple of housekeeping items. Like she mentioned, if you'd like a copy of today's presentation, you can visit our website at claninmarketing.com/workshops. Right underneath our schedule of upcoming webinars, there is a form. You just fill out your name and email, and again, you will get a PDF copy of today's presentation. In addition, over the years, we have partnered with our local SBD Center to provide you a series of free marketing workshops and webinars thanks to the SBDC and all of our local partners. Again, that list can all be found on this website. I think our next one is just in a couple weeks, and that's all about advertising on Facebook. So if you struggled with what type of ads should I be running and what is this boosted post, feel free to join us for that as well. Like Jordan mentioned, my name is Scott Clanin. I'm the owner of Clanin Marketing. We're a full-service marketing and creative agency based in downtown Champaign, and we provide a variety of different marketing and design creative services. A lot of it in website development, video production, branding, and of course, graphic design. So over the years, we have seen Canva become more and more popular, and it has certainly shaken up the graphic design industry a bit, because a lot of things that you can now design in Canva, you once almost had to work with a graphic designer. But I love it because it really empowers a lot of our clients, a lot of business owners, to create graphics on the go very quickly. You don't need to be formally trained in graphic design, and it's free. They do have a free version of Canva where you can get off and running. So we're really excited to share a variety of things with you today. We will be going over a few slides in our PowerPoint presentation. I really want to talk about the pros and cons of Canva itself, and then we'll be going through a demonstration. So I do want to introduce you to Jess. She is our project manager and kind of Canva pro at the office. So she's going to be walking you through a demonstration alongside with me towards the tail end of today. We just thought it would be easier to actually walk through the program itself as opposed to just some screenshots. So Jess, we'll get back to you once we get to the demonstration. Okay, so this is our agenda for today. We're going to go through just an overview of what Canva is, pros and cons, a checklist before you start designing, because you can really go down a long rabbit hole in Canva. We're going to talk about the Canva brand kit, and then of course do a walkthrough. So again, this is Getting Started on Canva. This is a webinar really designed for those who haven't really been in Canva much. Maybe you've heard of Canva, maybe you've struggled with designing some things in-house, or maybe you've dabbled a little bit in Canva, but you're not quite sure if you're doing it right, or if you're uploading or importing your correct fonts and colors. So we're going to be going over all those things with you today. All right, so like I mentioned, Canva is a free to use online graphic design tool. So it's a plug and play system, drag and drop. You can customize your design, and you think of it, and there's a really, really good chance that they have it. It's anything from posters, infographics, letterhead, programs, media kits, and so much more. And when we go through the demonstration, we'll be showing you how easy it is to get started. The one thing I do recommend before you, of course, you go into these programs is to have a plan in place. As you can see, this is a screenshot of the homepage when you first dive into Canva, and it immediately asks, what will you design? And then from here, you can start your search. They'll have some pre-built templates already to go for you, which is going to save so much time, because a lot of times it's hard to think about what you want until you see an inspiration, right? And again, this is what we'll be going through here in a bit. Variety of different templates available to you, or you could just start from scratch. There's a variety of pros and cons with Canva. I know some people use Canva all the time, and it's great. It really checks all their boxes and fulfills all their needs. And it's really, again, meant for non-designers to easily create visual, impactful graphics. Like any program, Canva has a variety of pros and cons to consider before you dive in. So here are some of the pros, just to keep in mind. Of course, ready-made, ready-sized templates for any design. And so what I mean by ready-sized templates is before Canva, when we were designing a lot of social media content, social media graphics, and that's what I think a lot of people use Canva for, is for social media. We had to keep up with the different size requirements for our social media accounts. So if you're designing something for like a LinkedIn header, a Facebook header image for your profile, an Instagram story, all those have different ratios, right? These pixel ratios. What is your height? What is your width of that graphic? And I remember back in the day, I think I had to type it or write it down and kind of have it in front of me, or in some cases, I had a lot of those sizes memorized. But now you just can type it into Canva, what you're looking for, and they will have the correct size ratio for that particular design. So that's what that means by ready size template. You don't have to worry about what size something is, because it will save that for you. Second, it's free. You can't beat free. So of course, like with anything nowadays, they do have some upgraded features available. Of course, and again, we'll be showing you those. There's tiers, right? So if you want to, it will give you the basics, but if you want to start uploading certain colors from your brand, certain fonts from your brand, you do need to upgrade that account. And so we'll be showing you what to look for and what a certain symbol means for premium features. Easy to access. There's no software to download. It's a web-based platform. There's even an app too you can download on your phone. So you can get into it very, very quickly. Again, if you're using the free model, there's no large software that you have to download, no subscription costs that you have to pay for. Very easy to navigate. Now with any program, they make little interface changes from time to time. If you've never been in Canva before, it will take a little bit to just kind of get an understanding of where things are. But once you're in it on a weekly basis, you're really going to find that this is a pretty easy program to navigate through. And they want it to be easy for you. They want it to be quite intuitive for the users to design a variety of different graphics. And then, of course, it does have access to an incredible library of stock photography. I know that could be one of the biggest challenges for businesses, is having content to create. Yes, you can create a graphic, but a lot of times you want some sort of picture to put within the graphic. You don't want it to just be a solid color background and some text. You want photography to help lift the graphic a bit more, to make it a little more visually interesting. So it does have a built-in stock library that is available to you within Canva. Of course, there are some cons. This is where it would be best to work with a graphic designer or a design company to help you with a few things. But these are some cons that come along with Canva. Jess is going to talk about this, but one of it might be your content may look just like others. Maybe your competitor down the road is using Canva and you create a graphic and they create a graphic. It might look a little similar if you're not taking the time to go in and tailor that graphic a bit more. So that could be a con. Two, not ideal for logo design. So if you're looking for a brand development for your company, maybe you're going through a rebrand, maybe you're a new business and you need a new brand identity developed. You don't really want to use Canva for logo design. It's best to use an actual graphic designer who can ask you a series of questions and really design the brand around you, right? Certain colors and fonts, shapes, layout that would really be a good reflection of your current brand. Custom elements cannot be created. Again, it's a drag and drop system. And so you are limited to what Canva gives you. But as you'll see in our tutorial, there's a lot that you can change. So if you're looking for, like, for example, if you need a certain shape to be really curved or this unique angle with multiple lines or whatever it may be, that may be best to design in programs like what we used, Adobe Illustrator, or work with a graphic designer in those things. Canva could delete your account at any time. Now, of course, you would have to really either break some sort of rules or regulations they have on their account. But again, you're a customer of Canva, you're using their system. A lot of times people are using it for free. So if something goes wrong, I mean, they could shut your account down and you lose all your designs. And so I don't foresee that happening, but again, it could easily be a con because you're using this third-party program that is technically free, okay? All right, so it's really important before you dive into Canva to kind of develop a checklist of things. They provide you with so many different design options, and you're going to see you could spend hours in Canva looking through all the really cool designs. And you might find a design that you're like, ooh, let me start with that. I'll start tweaking it a bit and adding in my fonts and colors and images. But then a few minutes later, maybe another design catches your eye, and then you shift over to that. That can easily happen because there are some really cool templates available for you on Canva. To avoid going down a rabbit hole, really make sure you have certain things already done and you have somewhat of a game plan going into it, right? So one is have your brand established. So what I mean by this is not just your logo design, but do you have certain brand standards that you have written down, documented somewhere? Meaning, what are your colors that you use across your font? What's your primary color? What's your secondary color? What are those color codes? A lot of times Canva will ask, and you'll see during the demo, for the hex code or the RGB code numbers to make sure that we're importing your exact color code within Canva itself. What are your brand fonts? So are you using a certain font that we should probably see on your website, printed sales material, business cards, maybe an email newsletter? Well, whatever you design in Canva should be using that same font family all across, right, for brand consistency. There have been a number of times where sometimes I get an email where, you know, it's coming from a company or organization and it just looks different, right, than what I'm, you know, used to seeing, maybe on a billboard, a commercial, some sort of printed ad or poster that they have around town. But then if I get another piece of material where the colors are different, the fonts are different, I start questioning, is this a legit email, right? There's no brand consistency with that. So it really helps establish trust. When we're going back to colors, I talked about the RBG or hex codes, again, making sure that those are identified. What is your brand tone? Messaging, imagery, right? We have a whole separate webinar just about branding. But this is all about thinking beyond just your brand identity. This is more your brand messaging, right? So, you know, a financial wealth management institution, they're going to use a little more buttoned up, a little more polished messaging, a little more professional. Whereas maybe a bar in downtown maybe has more relaxed come have a drink with us in our patio. We have live music this week, right? So the imagery and the messaging has a different tone, has a different vibe than one of like a wealth management. So this all goes back to your brand. So if you haven't established that yet, that's where I would just pause and make sure you have that set before you start creating collateral, assets, graphics, etc. Any brand flourishes, details, patterns that you might use. For example, the University of Illinois, they of course have orange and blue. They have their logo mark with the block I, but then they also have some special things that go along with their brand. They have a unique kind of a thumbprint mark that they use, this kind of abstract fingerprint that they use on some of their assets. They have certain imagery, like approved marketing imagery that they use for certain things. So again, are there certain patterns or there certain flourishes that are part of your brand that you can bring into your Canva designs? And then finally, make sure you have goals in mind. What are you looking to create? You know, for example, one of our clients always runs a spring campaign and a fall campaign. And we know for that campaign, we need to launch this ad on Nextdoor. We need to make graphics that we can post to our Instagram story and reels. We need to make square graphics for Instagram, for social media. We need to make posters that they can hang up in their showroom so that we have a checklist of certain things, certain assets we need for that campaign. So when we go into Canva, we have that list in front of us and we can just kind of go down the list, start with one item, and then you'll see during the demo, you can resize it to different things. You still keep that design consistency throughout the fonts, the colors, the overall aesthetic of the graphic. But now you're able to quickly redesign an existing graphic. That is a premium feature. And again, we'll walk you through that here in a second. But again, Canva has really thought of everything when it comes to helping you design a variety of assets and collateral. The one premium feature, we talk about brand consistency, but just to kind of put in the back of your mind, or if you're taking notes, is the Canva brand kit. This is your go-to spot to upload your fonts, your colors, your logo. So then no matter what you create, it's all consistent. You can kind of see this example here with this plant company. They have the square graphic, more of a rectangle one. They have vertical orientation for phone. But you can see it has an aesthetic through it. They're using a certain color palette, certain imagery, very calm imagery. Like I said, fonts, the logo, it has just a very nice look to it all. And you'll see for this example, they have a logo itself, but then they have what's called a logo mark. That little mark there with the leaves in it, in that circle. So that is called your logo mark, and you can upload that within your brand kit. This is, again, just some screenshots of once you're in the brand kit where you can upload your color code. Again, that's your hex color code. Upload all of your fonts. And then, of course, if you have different versions of your logo, if you are taking notes, I definitely recommend when you are uploading a logo in your brand kit, which is a premium feature, make sure you are uploading a high resolution, transparent PNG version of your logo. That's where you see that kind of gray and white checkered pattern behind your logo. That means that there's really nothing behind it. So no matter what you put it on, that background will come through. So make sure you have your vertical or horizontal versions of your logo. I love seeing an all white version of your logo in there, if possible. But again, you want different options just so you can design different things. If we go back to this example here, they're using this kind of white version of their logo across all their materials, but maybe they have a full color logo that they use on some white background applications. Okay, so that really walks you through just kind of a overview of what Canva is, a great free tool that has a lot of really cool templates, free options, but then we have a variety of premium features, which we're going to walk through as well. So at this time, I'm going to stop sharing, and I want to introduce you over to Jess. So Jess is our project manager, like I mentioned, and is also our Canva Pro. So Jess, are you still with us here?
I sure am.
Perfect. So Jess, while you pull up Canva here, so if you could introduce yourself a little more and tell me a little more about your background with Canva.
Sure, yeah. So, like Scott mentioned, I am the project manager here at Clanin Marketing. And in the past, I worked in property management. So I was in residential housing. And at that time, I was a leasing manager, but I was also kind of our makeshift marketing department. So that's where I really cut my teeth on Canva. I've been using it for about, 6, 7 years at this point. Obviously, it's changed a lot along the way, gotten a lot better. But yeah, just a wonderful tool. If at the time I didn't have any practice or training in the Adobe suite, InDesign, InCopy, Photoshop, etc. So Canva was really, really helpful to me as a very simple, easy to use tool to create social media graphics. We did flyers, door hangers, business cards, t-shirts. You can do all sorts of stuff on Canva. So it's really terrific.
And Jess, did you use the free version of Canva when
Yes, yeah. For the most first couple of years, I was using Canva, and then once I felt I'm really comfortable with the program, I approached my manager and was like, "Hey, can we go for the premium version or the pro version?" Opens up a lot more doors. So once I definitely don't recommend starting with Canva Pro, but once you're in it, once you really get a feel for Canva and you find that it's useful, definitely make that investment because it really does elevate everything just that next level.
Great, wonderful. Well, I do see your screen. And so I know this is really the home page of Canva. So can you walk us through what we're seeing here and kind of get a little lay of the land?
Yeah, absolutely. So once you log into Canva and you've got an account created, this is what you're going to see every time you log in. So up top here, you've got the what will you design today? As you can see here, it says search your content or canvas. So what that means is you can see down here my recent designs. These are some projects that we've worked on in the past. So if I wanted to find one of my old designs, like let's say the shelf talkers here, I can just search shelf up top and you'll see it takes me to templates, but let's click over to projects first. So here is going to be all of my current projects that I have with shelf in the title. Up here, you can also search templates like I was saying. So for a template, this is going to be those kind of custom pre-made graphics that Scott was mentioning. And here you can search really kind of what you're wanting to make a graphic for. So let's say, for instance, you're doing an open house. So if you search open house here and you stay in templates, it'll pull up the search results. And as you can see, you've got a ton of different options here, different sizes of things. So a few things that I want to point out as you see search results like this. The first is going to be this little crown here in the corner of some designs. This means there's an element in here that is Canva Pro specific. What Canva Pro gets you in terms of like additional editing tools is access to certain fonts, access to certain graphic elements. The difference between free and pro is really just what the original creator wants. So if there's a Canva element that you have to pay for, it's because the person that designed it sold it to Canva, versus some people offer it for free. So that just kind of explains that distinction. But you do have filters here as well. So let's say I know I want to make an open house flyer. I can look here and I can see, okay, I've got all sorts of different topics this way. Let's say I'm doing it for business and I'm doing flyers. And then this will go ahead, apply. Now it's going to show me just open house flyers. So no longer social media, nothing improperly sized. These are all going to be 8.5 by 11 flyers. So
And
that
one
is,
quick thing,
yeah, go ahead.
one quick thing I'll mention, if everyone can think back to that slide in the PowerPoint a little bit ago when we talk about goals, thinking of what type of templates you'll need, but also think about what type of content you're going to include on that graphic, right? Because you can see here, there's a few of these that have areas for 3 photos. Some of them have areas for multiple photos. So there's so many options here. You can easily see, I mean, look how many templates. There's 6,933 templates that come up. You're going to have options. So to help you narrow it down further, just make sure you kind of have a little checklist in front of you of, okay, what exactly am I looking for and what type of template will help me achieve, my desired goal, my desired outcome.
Perfect.
Great.
Yeah, so then if we head back to the main homepage here, I'm kind of explaining a little bit further as we go down. These little shortcuts here are ways to get you into like different template sizes. I personally don't use these. So it's really just going to be kind of your workflow that dictates if you'll be using these icons here. I personally go with this what you might want to try section, because these are going to be the most common things that, especially if you're doing primarily social media or flyers, it's all going to be kind of right in here. So you can see you've got Instagram post square, you've got Instagram story, Facebook cover, posters, and I'm just scrolling along here, documents, flyers, etc. So all of these are going to open a brand new blank project for you, so there won't be any preset designs to them. You can always add that later, which I'll show you. But this is the way to open just a blank project to start from scratch, just pre-sized for wherever you're going to be sharing it. So you can see once I hover over Instagram post, it's 1080 by 1080 pixels, which is the size for an Instagram square post. And then you look over here at the stores, you can see it's 1080 by 1920 pixels. Again, just the appropriate size for when you're posting on your stories. So that's what you're seeing here, kind of right when you land on the main page. But if you look over on, actually, sorry, let me not get ahead of myself. In the top right here, you've got upload and custom size buttons. These are helpful if you are designing a graphic. Let's say you're doing something on your website and you know you need a certain narrow strip section, and Canva doesn't have a preset narrow strip section for a website. That's where custom size is going to come in handy. When you click on this, you can see it automatically puts it in pixels. But if you're not used to digital design and you know inches or the metric system, you switch it to that. Key in however you want the width and the height to be. And then you've got a custom size, again, blank page ready to go to put your design on. So something else I wanted to mention there. But now we can go over to the toolbar here on the left side. So the toolbar here, you've got your home projects. This is for the more organized among us, not personally me. You can put things into folders. So organize your designs here by different companies that we're working with. We've got sort of different shelf talkers. So if this is how you like to organize things, your project folder off to the side here, that was that. Templates, this is just going to take you to a field where you can search any template you want. I'll click on that so you can see, but it's really similar to kind of the home page. You aren't searching what type of template you want, it'll just show you. So this is a good place to come if you're not necessarily working on a specific design, but you're just kind of thinking about what you're going to want your next post to look like, or you're needing some inspiration. Definitely a good place to come over here to this templates page and just sort of scroll through and see what they have. But again, it's not specific. You can always drill down what type of template you want here in the search bar. And then we're back here on the home page. And the last thing that I want to talk about is the brand kit or the brand guide. But this, as you can see, it does have that little crown icon. So this is a premium feature. So this is something that you do have to pay for. But this is where you can set up your logo, your colors, your fonts. Excuse me. This is this Big Bites Donuts here. This was a little company I made just for today's demonstration, just to kind of show you how you set up a brand kit. But so you've got your logo, you click add new. Again, like Scott mentioned, you're going to want to make sure you're doing high quality, transparent. If you have multiple versions of your logos, you know, single color, multicolor, you can add those here. Sorry, I've got to tickle really quick. Forgive me, how unprofessional. And then you can add your colors. These are the color codes Scott was talking about. So if you have those, you can key them in, or you can always just kind of drag around. If you're still working on like a secondary color for your brand, you do have the option to sort of scan through all the different colors and see what works best for you. And then down here, you've got your fonts. So you've got title, subtitle, heading, etc. These are just ways to populate a preset design with, or not a preset, excuse me, a blank design, a little preset to use your fonts. If you are using a template, it's going to show you the fonts used in that template, but you are able to change those. And then of course, if you have any set like photos that you frequently use, any graphics or icons like that thumbprint that the U of I uses or the fingerprint, you can add those here, and then they'll automatically be in your left side toolbar when you're in the design page of Canva, really easy to access. So with that,
that brand kit, that brand area, yes, it's the pro feature, but that's really what's going to elevate your content a bit more and take it from template based to really custom tailored design. You know, like Jess mentioned, you don't necessarily have to start right into pro. But if you do want super slick graphics that are 100% consistent with everything else, it might be worth just diving into Pro. So then you can upload your brand colors, your fonts, etc. So perfect. Thanks, Jess, for walking through the homepage. I thought it'd be good to go through. Let's start with maybe that fake company that you had created. Let's maybe start with a template that's already designed by Canva, but how we can go in and make changes. So can you show us that?
Absolutely. So I went ahead before the call and kind of scanned through a couple of various templates because, as you saw, there are thousands upon thousands of them, and selected this one I liked. So this right here, this grand opening graphic, is a template that was made by a Canva designer that I'm going to take and kind of tweak and customize to my brand. And that's the number one thing that I like to tell people when using Canva is you never want to use a template as is, because people can tell right away. Someone like myself, I've been in Canva for multiple years. When I'm out and about, I'm like Canva, 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 and I can tell if they changed nothing at all. I'm like, you didn't do anything on that one. You picked it, added your company logo, and called it a day, which we definitely discourage because that looks like you use Canva. And I love Canva, but you definitely want to come off bespoke, custom, and really high quality with your images to give that sense of trust to your customers. So here we are with the grand opening for a burger shop, but I actually want to make it a grand opening for my donut shop. So if I go over here into the brand section on the left-hand side, you can see I've got the Big Bites donut selected. If you are working with multiple brands, this drop-down menu, you can select whichever one you're working on specifically, but we'll stay with Big Bite Donuts. And then you can see here, I've got my color palette. And when I hover over it, it says shuffle. This is a way to instantly apply your brand's color palette to the design. So when I click shuffle, now all of a sudden, this graphic is in my brand's colors with that new blue I added. If you keep clicking shuffle, it'll kind of cycle through various color combination and options. Of course, if you want to kind of do this yourself, if you click on a certain element in the design, some things you are able to change the color for in Canva, some you aren't. Like this burger is set up to be changeable in color. So you can see my brand colors pop up there, or I can add a different color if I want. Some things are not able to change in color. So when you click on it, unfortunately, there's nothing in this graphic that is not changeable or editable, I should say. But when you click on it and no colors pop up here and it just says edit photo instead of edit image, then you know you've got a set graphic that you can't change. So that way you're not, wondering what's going wrong, why you can't change the color. Some things you just can't. But let's say I don't want the background to be the blue, I want it to be this pink color. So when you click on an element in Canva, it'll give it this purple box highlighted around it. Kind of tough to see on the background. You can see more like as I click on grand opening, I get the purple box. As I hover over this hamburger, etc., etc. So that once you've hovered over it and you click it, it'll give you kind of those adjustable corners. You know you've got it selected, you know what you're changing. So I want to change the background color here. Up in the top right is where my color is. I click on that and I've got all my brand colors as well as a bunch of other different colors and gradients. But I want it to be just like a little bit darker of a blue. Boom, I click it and now I've got this darker blue. But let's shuffle through. Perfect. And obviously I'm not doing a hamburger, so I want to get rid of the hamburger. So if I click on that, I hit delete. And then if you go over here in your left side to this elements section, this is where you're going to find shapes, animated graphics, photos, etc. It's all under elements. So this is definitely a good place to spend some time familiarizing yourself with how to search, what to find, etc.
And this is where it gets really fun because it's a library of so much content. Right now, of course, you'll see that little crown icon. There are some things in here that are premium. But there are so many options in here to really tailor your graphic.
Yeah, like just for instance, if I search balloon, you can have graphics of balloons, photos of balloons, videos of balloons. This one is a balloon frame. And if you click see all, I mean, you can see there are any balloon you could possibly want, you're able to find. So yeah, the elements feature is fantastic. Tons of stuff in there. But yeah, we'll go ahead. This was another little donut icon that I had selected when I was prepping for today's call. And we'll go ahead and just drop our little donut right in there. And then I'm, wanting to rebrand this to my brand. So I want to change this text to my brand's text. So if I highlight grand opening, I go up here. This currently is Glicker, the font. So this is where your fonts are. So if you click on this drop-down menu, here you can see every font Canva has to offer. Again, you'll see some are premium, some are free. But if you click over to text styles, this is where your brand's preset texts are going to live, or font faces, I should say. So this is the title of the image. I want it to make it my title font, which was preset as Telegraph. Now, obviously, this is a little too small. So when you have something like this, you can drag and drop to resize, or you have your text box up top with the font size. I'm going to up this to 100. And now this is already looking much more bespoke and custom to my brand. I'll save everyone the boring details of going through and changing this to donut, et cetera, et cetera. But this is a really easy way to kind of get into a design, use the template, customize it as you see fit, update the correct information, and then you are ready to use it, which we'll go through downloading and everything at the end. Yeah, those are the big main things to think about when working with a template preset design. And now, unless Scott, anything has come up on your end, I think we can head over to sort of a blank design so I can show you a couple other fun editing features in Canva.
Yes, and actually, Jess, I kind of got to thinking when I was talking about creating graphics for a different campaign, right? You might need a square graphic for social media, but then you might need a vertical graphic for like Instagram Reels. Can you show us, if I really like this design, how do I resize it for different applications?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you are a Canva Pro user, you do have access to a resize feature, which is up here in the very top left. Again, I hate to keep pointing it out, but you can see the crown, which means it's the Canva Pro feature. And then if you click on the resize button here, it'll give you options to browse kind of by category, or you can, like, let's say this is already pre-searched here, but I wanted to turn this post into an Instagram story. So I would search Instagram and I would type it right. And then I would say, okay, I want this to be an Instagram story, select, and then hit continue. So it'll give me a preview of how it's resized my graphic. It's not always going to be perfect. Some designs lend themselves better to a narrower thing than others, but I'll go ahead and hit resize to Instagram story. And then we'll say it'll put it in your project so you can stay in this one. That's ready to go for when you need it. But I'll go ahead and open that now so I can show you. And it'll take just a moment to load.
And again, this is great because you don't have to try to remember what the sizes of everything is nowadays. It will do all that for you.
Exactly. I can't tell you how many times I used to Google Facebook post size, and now I haven't Googled it in years, which is fantastic. So this is a good opportunity to show off a little bit of the editing capabilities here in Canva as well. So you can see right here, I've got my checkered pattern, but these are 3 different groups or 3 different elements. So if I move one, they don't all move together, but I want them to move together because they're acting as a border. So if you drag and drop, and you can see, okay, I've selected everything in the purple box. This option pops up automatically for group. And now this is going to act as one element. So I can just drag it down. And so much is drag and drop in Canva. It's really, really simple to use. And then let's say I wanted to kind of move everything, whoopsie daisy. Go ahead and group all this and then move everything up a little bit. And maybe right here, since it's an Instagram story, I wanted to add, a poll or ask a question feature through Instagram. You can leave that space blank. And then when you post this, you'll have that empty space that you can fill with those different features.
Yeah, that's great. No, I love that. I love that option to quickly resize. Now, of course, you can still create an Instagram story without that pro version, right? This saves you time by just resizing the graphic you're already in. But again, you can do it. It will just take a few more steps if you don't have that pro resize tool, right?
Exactly. And one thing too to consider when thinking about sizes of graphics, the templates are dependent on the size of what you're designing. So you're not getting the same template just in a variety of sizes. So if I were making a graphic for an Instagram post like we were initially, and then I wanted to make it a Instagram story, If I don't have this Resize Pro feature, it can be a little bit more challenging because you're gonna have to copy over the text, the shapes, the sort of like the elements here, like the walking donut. Definitely possible, but just a little bit more labor intensive that way. One thing to point out.
Right, right. Well, this is great. So again, this was a tutorial on how to pull up a preset template, make some changes. As you can see, you think of it and you could probably change it, right? Colors, sizes of certain things, the fonts within the graphic. But just if maybe we can go back to the home page and let's, for those maybe on the call that maybe have a little more of a design eye, or they want a little more of a challenge where they want to start with just a blank template. Can you show us where to go and how to start with just a blank slate?
Absolutely. So for the blank slates, that's going to be this sort of, you might want to try section here, or you can go into the custom size, and that's going to create a blank option. Or, and this features here, for some reason I never use it because I'm often in the body of Canva rather than up top. But you do have a create design button right here that you can use to pick a certain size that you would need. Since we're in here, let's go ahead and pick Instagram post square. And this will open up just a blank design for me. So a white screen, or a white page, I should say. Give it just a second to load here. And so keeping an eye kind of on our time here, I want to quickly go through a couple different features. Some of my most used features in Canva that I think are really good baseline tools to have as you're working on a blank design. So the first thing that you most likely want to do is go ahead and add some text. If you're making a flyer, some sort of informational graphic, that's going to be important. So text box are added off to the left here by clicking text, as you guessed it. You can see if you do have your brand kit, this is what I was talking about with the title, the subtitle, it'll automatically pop in for me, or you can just use Canva's default text styles. So we'll just go ahead and use default for this one. Add a heading. You double click to change the font, or excuse me, change the text. And then as you can see, once I've got it selected, I can move it around wherever I want it to be. I can make it big, I can make it small, really intuitive design. And then of course, if I'm not feeling this font's a little plain, you go over here to the text bar or the font bar, and they'll have some recommended fonts for you, some of the ones that you've recently used, popular ones, etc. But I know that I want something, let's say handwritten. Oh, perfect. Didn't even see that. So you can search script, you can search handwritten, and it'll come up with fonts for you. So if I search scripted fonts, and then I'm like, okay, let's see this one. Not exactly what I'm looking for. I want something a little bit thinner. Perfect. It looks a little silly in the text box because it's so tall, but now I've got this test font text box in a new script. Let me get a plain one because that one's actually a little crazy, to show you some of the cool text editing options that you can do, which I am a fan of. So let's go with Montserrat. That's a nice, easy font. That I can spell. Okay. So I'll make this a little bit bigger just to make it easier to see the changes that I'm going to be doing. But so when you've got the text box that you want to apply some effects to, make sure you've got the right text highlighted, and then up here in your bar, and I should also point out, kind of like Word, you can change your color. Some fonts have a bold option, some don't, some have the italicize option, etc. Underline, strike through, changing it from title case, some case to uppercase. Alignment, you can do center, you have the option to do bullet points. And then this here is a spacing thing, which we'll get to in a second. So very similar if you've used any Google Docs word processor, you're familiar with this toolbar. But if you go over here to effects, I'm going to show you the two most common effects that I find are functionally helpful. So if you have a photo that you're going to be putting text over, sometimes it gets hard to read that text and you want to create some separation. My favorite way to do that is with this lift. So you can see on the white background, it pops off pretty well. Just kind of a blurry shadow has been put behind my text. It's going to make it so much easier to read. You can change the intensity. So if you really want it to pop off, or if you're looking for something more subtle, and this is just a slider bar, look over here and see what feels right to you. In a similar use case is the shadow effect. So you can see here, it's got a drop shadow behind it. You are able to change the color of your shadow. So if I wanted it to be my brand blue or my brand purple, excuse me, my brand pink, it'll change that. You've got the blur function, direction, all sorts of different stuff that you can kind of play around with. But again, to get here, you just select your text. You're going to go up to effects and it'll open up this sidebar for you. The rest of this stuff is more aesthetic. Definitely encourage you to play around, see how these different effects work. But like for this one, this sort of glitch effect, not the most common use case, but if you've got a design that calls for it, it's good to know where it is. And then the last thing here, I want to get rid of that, is you are able to curve your text. So you can create a curve, it'll show you the circle. You can have it bend this way, that way. So let's say you have like a circle graphic and you want the text to go around it. You are able to do that, which is really, really nice. So that is like a quick sort of way with text. The other thing I want to show off is Canva is a surprisingly powerful photo editor. Very, very useful. So I'm going to go to our uploads. You are able to search for photos. Let me show you first. Pumpkin. It's fall, right? So if I search pumpkin and then up here, I go into photos. This is that really wonderful library Scott mentioned earlier of available stock photos for you to use. Some of them are, of course, premium, but some of them are free. So if you wanted to have just a cute little background for a fall sale you've got coming up, you've got a wonderful picture you can use right away. Very handy. You can search basically anything and you'll find a photo, which is great. And of course, you are able to upload your own photos as well. So this is our upload section. Obviously, you can see some past work here, but I'm going to go ahead and pick this wonderful picture of Scott to show you some fun editing tools that you can, or editing tips you can do. By far and away, the most one that I have used is the background remover. Of course, it is a pro feature, but I'm going to show it off anyway. So select the photo that you want. We've got the purple highlight, and then up here, edit photo. And this is, I kind of mentioned before, if you can't change the color of something, this is what it'll look like in your top left bar. So if you hit edit photo, you've got a couple different functions you can use. I'll save the background remover for last, actually, so I don't get rid of the background. But something that I really like is this blur feature. Again, this is great if you're putting text on top of a photo and you want it to be extra readable and you're finding it a little challenge even with the lift. You can just blur out the photo a little bit so you still get the essence of what's going on. And then title, like, so much easier to read behind it. I'm going to make that white. So that is blur. The other really wonderful function, let me get the blur off here, is a background remover. And it does exactly what you think. It's going to remove the background. So if I just wanted Scott, and let's say I want him, you know, in front of, I didn't apply it, forgive me, edit photo, background remover, hit the little icon here. So if you were doing a background erase, and let's say it accidentally like left something here, you can go in and erase and get rid of a line. Or if it cuts something off, you can hit restore and bring it back. So just something I wanted to highlight there. Let's go ahead and reset that. No, not all the way. There we go.
While she's doing that, this is great for if you want to highlight maybe one of your team members, maybe a work anniversary, a birthday, and maybe you haven't had time to take a really nice headshot of them, but you have a pretty good shot of them from maybe a phone. You just want to get rid of the background and put them maybe on top of an image that's slightly blurred or a color or pattern. This is a great tool, and actually we use this cutout feature all the time because it really helps just elevate your overall graphics. Just for the sake of time, we have about 10 minutes. I do want to make sure that we leave time for questions and answers. So if you can show what it would be if you were to add a background in here, Jess, and then if we can walk through, okay, I love this design, how do I save it, and what are some other things that I can do when I do save this file?
Yes. Thank you for the time. No, I could talk about Canva endlessly. I think it's so fun. So to change the background on something, of course, you're going to select it. Make sure you've got the purple highlight box. And then down here at the very bottom of your toolbar is the background key. You have, Canva's going to give you some options of like landscapes, patterns, gradients, sort of abstract images, etc. You can, of course, always just pick a different color. So now it looks like Scott's definitely working for my donut company, which is great. So this is a quick and easy way to get a background. It will automatically format it to the size of your image as well. But another way to do a background, if you have your own photo, which I do want to highlight. We'll borrow this photo from BVB Glass. You are able to just kind of move this around. You've got the corner here, drag and drop, make it a nice big size, kind of fill up my whole screen here. But now where is Scott? And this is where layers are going to come in handy. So if you ever find designs are stacking on top of each other and you want to make sure you can see everything correctly, highlight what you want to move, go ahead and right click, and then down here you can see you've got layer. So I want to send this to the back so everything else in my design is in front of it. There's Scott, and that's a way to use your own photo as a background. But let's say this is great. We love it just as it is, and now I want to download it so I can post it to my Instagram. It's kind of counterintuitive, but the share button up here in the top right corner is going to be where you download from. So if you click the share button, it'll give you a bunch of different options. You can link your Instagram to post automatically. I personally don't like doing that because I prefer keying things in, etc. So I always go to the download button right here. So once you're in the download, you do have obviously a variety of options. You can download as a PNG, which is what you want for Instagram. But if you've got a flyer that you're going to send to Staples to be printed, you can do it as a PDF print. If, like we were mentioning, you're doing something like a little web strip or a small strip section for your website, you'd want to use the SVG. You can do GIFs and videos as well, but we'll save that for Canva part 2. But I want to just go ahead and make this a PNG. You do have the option as a premium user to make a transparent background. So if I didn't have this BVB and I just wanted a little cutout of Scott, I would go ahead and select transparent background. But then once you click download, I don't know if it'll, yep, popping up. So it's downloading, and then this is going to go right into my download folder. And from there, I can download it to my phone, send it to whomever, and get it posted.
Perfect. This is great, Jess. And one last thing, can you show us, just because I know you had mentioned you use this at your other job, you have a design, you love it. What if I wanted to order something like a flyer or a postcard or something? Can you show us the built-in ordering tool, which I think is really cool in Canva?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me, just to make it super easy, I'm just going to pull up a business card template really fast, and then I can show you how those print. Because if it's not the right size, it's not as easy to use ordering.
Yeah. And while she pulls this up, again, we'll be getting to questions here in a bit. So if you do have any questions, feel free to ask those in that chat box, and Jordan will read those to us here at the end.
Gray, elegant, perfect. So this, I am going to customize this template, but I'm not actually going to customize anything. But once you've got a design ready to go, like for here, we've got a business card, flyers, etc. You are able to print through Canva as well. They're printing super fast. It's actually very good quality. You know, you're not going to be getting like the most premium paper stock, but it's really solid, and I think a good deal as well. So if you go again to your share option, we're going to go past download 2 more to print with Canva. So here it's going to give you all the different options of things that you can print. But I know that I'm doing a business card. So let me search business cards, and I've got a landscape design, and it'll show you a little mock-up of what your business card is going to look like. You can pick your paper type, standard, premium, or deluxe, which they have added. So you do have some more options for premium paper. You can do different finishes, matte, gloss, etc. And then you just pick however many you want. So if I were going to order, 200 business cards, it's only 18 cents per card at a total of $36, which in my opinion is a very good deal. You would then just go ahead, click continue, and it would take you to an ordering page. But we don't have to go through all of that business.
Excellent.
And that's how you order. I don't want to show everyone my credit card details.
Good idea. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you, Jess, for this excellent demonstration. Again, we could really spend multiple days just in Canva going over all the different types of tools. And I think the best way to learn is to just dive right into it and start exploring. Again, try to go in with that checklist in mind of what do I need to get out of this, right? What are the graphics I need to create? What's the type of content I need to have on those type of graphics? And of course, what are the file types I need when I'm done? Do you need PDFs made? Do you need PNGs? And again, in that share button, you're going to have a variety of different things. Before I hand it over to Jordan real quick, I know there is a continuing education thing with Canva. Is that very easy? I think at the very top there, Jess, there's that education or learn button there.
So you've got this Learn section here for a Canva blog, different events in their help center. But the most useful tool I found, and I went through all these courses myself, is their design school. So this kind of Canva beginners will be a little bit more in depth than what we covered today. But then you can get into specifics. If you're an educator, it'll teach you how to use it best for yourself, Canva for nonprofits, and then it'll teach you some basic design skills, you know, how you should be laying out fonts, how you should be laying out photos, etc., and all sorts of different tutorials to get you very comfortable with Canva. So Canva, on top of being very easy and user-friendly, also wants to train people and make it even easier to use. So a really wonderful platform.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again, Jess. So Jordan, I'll hand it over to you. Again, I want to thank everyone for joining today's webinar on getting started on Canva, really. So Jordan, just wanted to see if there's any questions that we can help answer.
Yeah, we do have a couple, and I know that you guys both touched on this a little bit, but maybe just we can elaborate a little bit more. This individual asked, is it more difficult to import and use your own art in your design? So we didn't really talk about, I mean, we talked a little bit about like uploading pictures, but I guess maybe what you can and can't do with them. I know Jess talked about changing colors and backgrounds and things like that.
Yeah, I'll answer this one real quick. I would say it probably is a little more difficult when you are trying to upload your own pieces of art and things, because you might run into some limitations where you can't change the color of that. You almost may have to change the color in the design program that it's coming from before you upload it into Canva. So I would say it's probably a little easier to build something from scratch within Canva. Now, of course, going back to one of the cons in the PowerPoint is that it can only do so much. So if you need certain shapes or just something really unique, you may not be able to do that in Canva. You may need to work with a graphic designer or do that design in Illustrator.
All right, and then our next one, the person just mentioned they liked seeing the pro features, and they mentioned, you know, removing the background, and they asked if they could hear some more pro features. But I do know personally that a lot of the pro features are just built on the basic features. You know, you can just do like a step further. But I know one thing that wasn't touched on that maybe one of you can touch on is how you can create a team on Canva, or a little bit more on that and how that's a pro feature, sharing designs.
Yeah. So we personally here, we don't use the team feature, but if you are working with a multiple designers or multiple people, or maybe you have a couple of interns helping you, I think that could be a great tool for you, so you can all kind of share one account and work off of different designs and folders that you do organize. But yes, if you are working with multiple people within the same account, I think that team could be a great feature. But us personally, we just kind of use one account and then just kind of go in and make changes on the go, or Jess is going in and making some of those design edits. So, but yeah, you'll see in here, really, it's just a matter of diving through. There are so many pro features. As Jordan and I perhaps plan out some webinars for 2024, we could certainly do maybe a step up of Canva where we talk about some more features, some of the videos or the GIFs and more premium features. But as you can just see from this quick tutorial, there's so many free options still available to you, but yet there's also a good mix of premium that just kind of elevates everything a touch further. So.
And the nice thing is you can always undo anything.
Oh yeah, it's not set in stone.
Command Z is a beautiful short key.
Right. And Canva does want you, they do want you to play in this, right? They want to, because they give you so much, and again, you will make mistakes along the way, but that's how you'll learn. So.
All right, well, we are all caught up. I do want to reiterate, I know that's a lot of information. Maybe, you need to watch again where Jess was clicking or what she was doing. So you will get a link to the recording of today's session. That email will go out to all attendees tomorrow morning, and it will also include that link that Scott mentioned where you can download a copy of the presentation. So if you didn't get that jotted down in time, that will be included in that email as well. I do want to say thank you, Scott and Jess, for presenting with us today. You guys are always great and very knowledgeable, and thank you everyone for joining us.
Great. Have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.